Hello, teacher librarian friends. This is Mrs. J in the library, and I'm going to walk you through how to use the Pennsylvania Young Readers' Choice voting unit that I designed for the 2020-21 school year. Now, this activity and this group of activities are digital based and they're in Google Slides, and they're designed for the kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and third grade book list, not the grades 3 through 6 book list. However, you would certainly be able to change this and modify it for your needs to make it for the older students book list, including even the young adult or the 6 through 8 lists. So I'm going to walk you through each of the books and the activities in these slides. However, before I do that, I want to show you how you would share this with students. So when you clicked on the link in the product, you noticed that you were prompted to make a copy. Keep in mind that the copy you make is now your copy and you can change anything you like in it. This is your master copy. Then, when you're ready to share it with students, you're going to take your master copy that's personalized and you're going to share this link. Now, if you're sharing in Google Classroom, it's very easy to just add this Google Slides and make sure you set it to make a copy for each student. That means you'll need to assign it in Google Classroom as an assignment, not a material. However, if you're using another platform, the easiest way to share that with students is to share the copy link. To do that, you would go up to the URL and select everything, and then you're going to take everything from edit and beyond, no matter what else is after the word edit. You're going to take everything from that on and delete it. And then you're going to just type the word copy. Then this is the link right here, the whole entire link that you would want to copy and paste and share with your students. That will prompt them to make a copy just like you did. And then they can share those Google Slides back with you through your learning platform. So let's take a look at the book list for this year. So the first book, and I'm going in order of what I feel would be best for kindergarten to start with, and then kindergarten recommendations or kindergarten and up, I have a yellow stripe through. If I think a book is for first grade and up and maybe wouldn't be appropriate or work well for kindergarten in a library read aloud setting, I have a green stripe for it. And if something is pretty advanced, and I think even a first grader this year would struggle with it, I marked it with a blue stripe. But you do not have to follow those at all. So starting with the simplest books or the easiest books, reading The Very Impatient Caterpillar would be the first one I'd recommend starting with. If you are sharing this with remote students, you could easily link a YouTube video or a Safe Share video here, any link to a video of you reading the book aloud. Of course, be careful of copyright and be respectful of the publisher's work. You could also just embed a YouTube video over here by duplicating this slide. And then what I would do is I would just delete all of this on this slide and insert my video here, and then have students do the activity after that. And so let me go back there. All right, so the activity that I came up with is connecting with whatever databases you have available or whatever ebooks you have available to learn more about caterpillars, butterflies, or metamorphosis or migration, all of which are topics that the Very Impatient Caterpillar talks about. So when students click on this Mac and Via link, they would be taken to the generic Mac and Via login, so they would have to enter their school name. You could certainly change this, though, to a unique login link to save students time. Same with PebbleGo. This is the generic site login for PebbleGo, where students would have to enter a username and password. But Capstone provides a unique link for your school. So if you subscribe to PebbleGo, I recommend changing that to your specific link so that students don't need to enter that login information. BrainPop Junior, to the best of my knowledge, does not offer that, and so I added a section here that if you subscribe to BrainPop Junior, you could put a username and password in here. Of course, you can link anything else here. These were just little logos I designed to sort of look like the databases that we're used to using or the platforms we're used to using. So the second book is Potato Pants, and you may notice that there's a star setting here. These stars, I let students change the colors of them to give a book stars. Some of them appear like this when there was enough room on the slide. Others of them are smaller, and so I would let students color these any color they like, let them be creative with that. Of course, 5 stars being the best and 1 star being the least. For Potato Pants, I thought a really easy and fun simple craft I could do is to take a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and just cut a pretty big strip off the top so that there's a square left. And then if students round the corners of that square, then they and cut the other piece in half into 2 smaller rectangles, they can make their own potato pants, and I just let them color and design it. And the last page of Potato Pants actually has some good inspiration pieces there. So an activity for sign off, this one was a bit more challenging because it's a wordless book. So when I would be reading this out loud, I'm going to be narrating what's happening in the pictures and, oh, what do you notice here? But it would be a very quick read, certainly. And so these are all font awesome icons. And so students can actually change the size of them. They can change the width of them, and they can use the fill color bucket tool to change the color. So I thought, what a great way to let students design their own sort of scene from the book. So I have just sort of like a hill here or something. They can delete whatever they like, but they can create their own scene if they'd like. And students can also practice copying and pasting to duplicate some of these icons, which are based on actual icons and signs that we might see on the road somewhere or at a park. For Can I Be Your Dog, I thought this was a great time to have students practice writing or typing a little bit. You can see there's 2 of these here, so after students mark how many stars they want to give this book, they could write a note right here and sign their name, or they could write a longer note and then the stars are over here. So for students who are in 2nd and 3rd grade, I'm giving them the longer note version to give them more space to write. But for kindergarten and 1st grade, this is something I might do as a whole class activity, or I might give them a lot of support as they're typing. Obviously, since I have only a 40-minute class, I'm not worried too much about spelling or anything like that. I'm not grading them on that. It's just a fun response activity. The next book I would recommend is a computer called Catherine. This book just had such amazing math connections, and I thought, what a great way to incorporate talking about geometric shapes into our read aloud. So for this, I had the stars over here on the side, and then there's 2 versions of this activity. The first is not giving the students a word bank. It's just asking them to name the shapes. So of course triangle and rectangle will probably be simple, but parallelogram and trapezoid and pentagon might be more difficult. But I have checked, there's plenty of room if students double click in the middle of the shape. There is plenty of room to type the word. Okay, so that shouldn't be a problem even for parallelogram and trapezoid. It will fit inside there. And then if you'd like to give students some support, they can have the slightly easier version where it gives you a word bank. These are just text boxes that students can click and drag to the correct item. Next is Layla in Saffron. I thought that what a great time to talk about other cultures and food around the world and how people live. And so these keywords that I listed here are all keywords that are in Pebble Go. And you could certainly click add Pebble Go next as well, if that seems most appropriate, especially for maybe 3rd grade. My Poppy has a motorcycle. For this one, I just thought it would be great to have students talk about onomatopoeia words. And so I listed many of the onomatopoeia that are inside the book. And so it just tells them here's what they'll need, and they can draw a picture of what that sound makes. And there's so many great examples of that inside this book. For Billie Jean, I thought a great way to let students sort of learn more about Billie Jean is to explore her life through other platforms and other databases and other ways to learn about people. So again, I linked Mac and Via. You could link directly to a biography there if you own one, to Pebble Go. And then Britannica Kids, this is a free or freemium. There's some free content available in this encyclopedia, but then some of it is also paid. And since recently has been the anniversary of her famous tennis match, they have actually unlocked the article here. So I just linked that there to make it easy. And so I don't know how long that content will be there, but certainly use it while it's available. Moving then to some more challenging books or just longer books. The Fox and Chick book called The Party. I just had, again, a very simple activity where students could write or draw about something or what they think will happen next. What other adventures could Fox and Chick have? And so this is something that, again, they could do on paper by themselves, or you could do this as a class and you could make predictions if you don't have time to get out the art supplies. For the sun, 1 in a billion, again, I linked to some research keywords here, and so encouraging students to search for any of these and to learn more about one of these topics through whatever databases or resources you have available. Finally, we got to some of the more challenging or very long books. The Daring Dozen, again, I linked some research keywords and some research resources that I think would be really great and let students explore beyond some of the topics that are connecting to the biographies of the dozen men who walked on the moon. And then finally, I linked the only chapter book that I actually created an activity for was Frankie, Sparks, and the Class Pet. I usually don't create activities for the chapter books because they take so long to finish. However, this year I thought if there was any chapter book to do with every child or with every child in maybe second or third grade, this would be a good one because you could link it to so many, some research about pets. You could have students suggest getting a class pet or a library pet if you're up for that kind of thing. And so I thought that would be a great connection to something that would be student-led research. The final 3 books are listed here. Again, these are a bit longer. Certainly you could add activities for these, but if you didn't need to, you could just read them and then have students mark them with stars. All right, and finally, at last, there's a blank slide for you. This is to give you a way to design your own books or add your own books if you'd like. And so also I will be adding on here the sort of designed icons or pictures for Pebble Go Next and some other databases that you may have access to through your district. And so thank you for listening, and I wish you all the very best. Happy reading and happy voting, everyone.